everybody, welcome to Love and Relo, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross. I'm so blessed, honored, and hoarse to be here right now. We are live from National Harbor, Maryland at the WERC GWS. That's a whole lot of letters. You could do something with that. I'm very excited to be here with my very good friend too, Karen Mendez from Oregon, from way down under. Karen, how you doing?
Ben, good to see you again.
This is awesome having you here in person.
I know, it's been 5 years.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? 5 years.
It's wild. Like when I feel like I know you so well. We've been on like so many, webinars, Zooms. I've been on your amazing podcast. You've been on mine. And
You're my inspiration, Ben.
Well, thank you, but you're mine. I mean, I feel like I have a bit of a following in Australia because of you.
You do.
So thank you for that. It is so good to have you here in person.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
How was this conference experience here in the States treating you?
Pumped. I mean, conferences always kind of, expand your mind, leave you with takeaways and things to do when you go back to your program. But this is off the charts. This one's huge. We started obviously on Tuesday with Advocacy Day, went to Washington, went to Capitol Hill.
Did you go?
I did.
What was that like?
Amazing. We went under Capitol Hill. There are tunnels with like little subways. It was pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really good. We met with a lot of aides to officers, senators, representatives. It was amazing.
I mean, that's kind of cool. That would be cool for me. I did not get to go, unfortunately. But I mean, that would be cool for me being here from the States. I mean, that's got to be like, what's that like being from Australia?
It's like you're in a movie, right? Like, so that was kind of part of the reason I went. But also, what I kind of learned was I had something to bring to the table because a lot of the conversation, right, Ben, was around US politics, right? So immigration reforms, real estate industry, taxes. But I was able to chip in, that kind of more global thinking and, make sure that I remind everybody that there's a life outside the US, even though US rocks.
And you could say, like, hey, if you don't get your tax stuff in order, we're going to take all your talent. They're coming to Australia,
True. That's very true.
Yeah.
Better cost of living? Maybe not.
I don't know, yeah. No, it's wonderful having you here, Karen. Let me ask you, why was it important to come all this way? I mean, I know that you have some nice global mobility conferences and everything where you are, but you made the trip. How long was the flight?
24 hours.
24 hours
Two
to
flights.
be here.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Commitment.
Yeah, that is, yeah, really. Gosh, it's an inspiration. Why was it important for you to make the trip?
One, for me, it's always important to make sure I understand what's going on outside of our APAC region. US in some ways does lead the charge in mobility and best practice, but for me it's always important to bring that back and help drive the APAC industry, but then I also think, I can bring something to the table as well.
100%.
And of course, it's to catch up with good people like yourself. Kerwin, everybody.
Saw Kerwin.
Yes.
I think I have lunch with Kerwin on Sunday with my wife.
Fantastic.
Yes, he's like amazing. He's gonna be in Dallas. Shout out to Kerwin Guillermo. Tag him in the comments. Hey, get in the comments, hit that like button. Let us know you're out there, and check in with us in the comments. If you got questions, let us know. I've got a question for you though, Karen.
Yes.
You've come 24 hours to be here. What has been the most surprising thing about this week?
Well, that's a good question. The one that I could stay awake and get over the jet lag so quickly? No. In all seriousness.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like 24 hours. It's kind of like, did you even?
Well, I was in New York 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So, my time zones are completely screwed up. But for me, what was most surprising, I think, was the scale of the industry here. Like, I knew it was huge. I met you in 2019 at Atlanta.
Yep.
That was big, but this is epic. Like, amazing.
Well, and this hotel too is like
but
pretty insane.
Yeah, but
Shout
I think
out to the Gaylord.
Yeah, for sure. But I think having it in Washington and having that ability to be able to kind of be that change maker, particularly when we had the opportunity to go to Capitol Hill, that just added another layer of I think, not professionalism, but just impact that we can make as practitioners, not only on our programs, but then back to the institutions that govern and kind of guide us through what we do, right?
So I have a question, because you bring such a great global perspective and an APAC perspective. I heard a statistic somewhere, I'm probably going to get this wrong, but it was something like 50% of the world's population has had an election this year.
True.
64 countries or something like that have had
Yeah.
an election. Ours is coming up in 2 weeks. It's all we can talk about. You know, how do you see, you know, elections maybe changing some of the ways that you're thinking and dealing with global mobility, or how is national policy changing the way that maybe you have to deal with global mobility?
Yeah, look, I think whether it's elections, whether it's politics, whether it's natural disasters, I think one of the things that drives is it drives our need and our commitment, I think, to be ready. Like we saw, and that was tested at COVID, right? And I think, you know, after that happened, we all got a little bit complacent afterwards. But I think, you know, these elections that are coming up obviously influence legislation. For us in Australia, shout out to Australia. In Australia, we've got a massive immigration reform coming up in December.
Really? What is that about? Like, can you give us some?
Yeah,
Tell us
sure. So in Australia, the main work authorization is a TSS 482 visa. So the
TSS 482.
Yeah, don't make me expand on that.
Okay.
But it's basically the main employer sponsorship visa, and it gives work rights for 4 years. So that visa replaced the 457 visa, and the 457 visa was an historic visa in Australia. It had been around forever. It kind of lost its purpose. So the 482 came charging in to kind of rebrand and refresh everything. But it's not working so well either. So they're bringing in a reform in December. We know it's coming. We don't know what it looks like. So for mobility practitioners, you're staring down the barrel of a change in 8 weeks, and you don't know what that
is it going to make it harder to bring people in, or easier, or different types of people? I mean, what is your suspicion there? Get in the comments, by the way, if you know anything about this.
Yeah, please. Particularly the folks in immigration. Yeah, please give us some insights. But look, I wouldn't say it's leaning towards protectionism, but it's certainly around, one, making it easier for corporations is going to be a top tier. We hear that kind of almost has an easier pathway for skilled migrants to come in, but also they're looking at restructuring some of the student pathways to work, which for me, who comes from a state where the main revenue is education, and they're looking to cap education numbers and make it a little bit more difficult for pathways for students. Yeah, that's a big concern, because that's the future of our talent, right? So look, we're not going to know until the 11th hour what this is going to look like. And so again, we need to answer your question, we need to be ready, but we need to be prepared to kind of flex really quickly. And I think, you know, again, if it's immigration changes, elections, or it's, you know, crisis management, I think we need to all be a lot more prepared to be agile and fluid on how we manage our programs.
Wow,
Yeah.
so much going on right now.
It is.
Shout out to those in the comments here. Get in the comments, check in with us, let us know who you are, where you are, what's going on. Hey, let's tell. Hey, Ben Sukia, hit that like button. Reda, hit that like button, man. Come on, let's go. Get that comments going here. Come on, guys. These guys are just like, oh, I'm gonna come on, get free publicity, take. Come on, get in the comments here. Christian, this is great when it's really live. You can really shout at people, not into the void, but actually. Christian says, Christian here from the Orange County, California, enjoying the conference vicariously. Shout out to my OC folks. I saw Scott Carroll from the OC. Appreciate you there. Rachel Longo, looks like a great time. Thanks for sharing the experience. You are welcome, Rachel. This is cool. So here we are. It's Thursday. Going to any of the festivities tonight?
Oh, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, I'm going to the foundation Party with Purpose tonight.
Yes, me too. I'll see you there.
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
The rocket party got my voice last night, so I'm a little I need some
honey tea,
some
mint and
eucalyptus in it, perhaps. I don't even know. Richard Majewski checking in. Howdy from here to heckle you from West London. Thank you, Richard. I needed that. First heckle is the volume seems really low. See, this is good feedback. You know, I think you know what I think it is, Richard. Thank you. That's what we need here. Let me get my audio going here. Yeah, no, I think the volume is low. It says mic volume's here on this. Oh goodness, here we go. Let's try this. I'll help you guys out here a little bit. Test. Try this a little bit. Test.
Love live streams.
Yeah, live streaming it up here. Testing volume here.
Hey Ben, while you're doing that, can I flip the script?
Oh my gosh.
You
She's
knew
doing
I was
it.
going to do it.
Yeah, flip the script on me. What's going on? What's on your mind?
So one of the sessions I was at today, they talked about what does success look like for you as an individual. And I saw you up the front and I was like, I want to ask that man what success looks like to him.
Yeah. Thank you for asking me that while I'm troubleshooting sound. Try this. Richard, how's this sound, buddy? We're going to turn that up a little bit. How's that sound? Let me know. Yeah, what does success look like for me? You know, for me, it's about making an impact.
Yeah.
You know what I think about a lot, really morbidly, actually? I think about dying a lot. And I think about what my legacy is going to be after I die.
Sure.
And what are people going to say about me when I'm gone? And how long will people remember me? Because, I mean, let's be honest, like eventually you stop talking about people when they die, right? It's just the sad truth of it. And it's just a matter of how long it's going to take. You know, is it going to be a day? Is it going to be a year? Is it going to be 10 years? Whatever, you know? And so I think about, okay, what kind of an impact am I making in people's lives? And I want to be a part of as many people's stories as possible. Yeah. And through this show, it's really been a blessing because, especially this year, for some reason this year, and I don't know if it's just the amount of time we've been doing it or what, but I've had more people come up to me and say they got a job from the show. I got one guy coming on later, Ben Sukia, got married because of the show.
Wow.
You're gonna have to stay tuned to hear that story. It's a really good story. We've never actually done a real dating game on Love and Relo, even though everybody
do a wedding
thinks that's
on
like
Love and Relo.
what it would be. Yeah. But like, well, I'll tell you the one about the guy that got the job. And several people have told me this, but he's actually a government employee. Yeah. And he was at one agency, and he was applying for a job at another agency. Yeah. And they had two people apply. They were both good. Yeah. And what's the first thing you do when you want to know something about people? You Google them. And they Googled them, and the first result was YouTube.
Love it.
And it was my interview with them. Fantastic. And the two hiring managers both watched the interview, and they were like, we love the way you speak. We love the passion you have for the industry. We love your heart and who you are. And they gave him the job. Wow, that's amazing. And it's so amazing. And you know what else? It's funny because a lot of people don't want to come on because they think there's a risk to their career. Yeah. They think, oh my gosh, if my boss finds out, oh my gosh, I don't have approval, I'm not authorized. What if I say something that's dumb or whatever? Sure. And they don't realize the upside far outweighs the downside. Yeah, and you should back yourself too. You should back yourself. Yeah. So, you know, I think that's what success looks like for me, honestly. Fantastic. Well, I've got to tell you a story in relation to your show, actually. Yeah. We were at a friend's house last weekend, actually, and my girls are 7 and 10 now. Yes. And the oldest one decided with her friend to Google my name, and what comes up? The episode with you. Yeah. And whilst that didn't get me any kind of job, other than probably to clean up after them, but I tell you what, they were pretty chuffed to see mum on the computer. Yeah, you're like a big deal. Yeah. Oh, and if you tell kids these days that you're on YouTube, they think you're Mr. Beast or something. I know. And they're just like, oh, you're a YouTuber? And it's like, well, kind of, but not really. But kind of, yeah, sure, I'm a YouTuber. Yeah, I'm a YouTuber. Can I say hi to my girls? Ava, Grace, hey. What's up, Ava and Grace? Your mom's a rock star. She's amazing. People talk about her in the States all the time. She's awesome. She has a great podcast. Listen to your mother. Hey, get in the comments here. Let me know. Let me know what you think is success. I love this question. Karen, this is why you're a better host than I am. Let's see. Richard says, has anyone gotten a divorce out of Love and Relo? No. Oh, that's really interesting, Richard. You know, it's not too early. These things are in development. I'm sure it's Richard said dying a part of living, Ben? Yeah, it is. It's inevitable. None of us are getting out of this thing alive. No. You know, so how do we live the time between the dates there? The dash. Retta saying, always great to see you at ERC, Ben. Yes, Retta, it's good to see you too. Yeah, you got it. Can't wait to see you dance at the party for a purpose. This is amazing. I twisted my ankle dancing. Oh, no. Well, it was a few years ago. Oh. But I brought the same shoes back. Oh. They're kind of like these more formal pump slip-on things. I'm very, you know, so we gotta look out for you tonight, right? So if I get on there and I start doing my spins and stuff, and you see me like hit that little, then you know it's about to, I might snap my ankle or something.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
All right, I'll have my first aid ready to go.
Yeah, please bring ice packs. So Karen, I gotta ask you, what is success for you?
It's a good question. I thought about that when I heard it, actually, and I think for me, particularly because I think the speaker right after that was talking about women in mobility, and then the one after that was talking about his kids. And so I think for me, all of that is, I'm not going to say women do a lot, men do a lot as well, but for me,
thank you.
Success, right, and especially my husband, shout out to him right now, looking after the girls. For me, success is a daily, I look at it daily, I think, more than in a holistic thing. And for me, daily is managing all those things that we just heard about in the session, right? So I'm a mom, I am a global mobility manager, I am a daughter, I'm a sister, all those things, right? Like, put those all together and, you know, one of those things can overwhelm you and make it too much. Like, I look after the secondhand wardrobe at school, you know, I do all those kind of things. So for me, it's around making sure at the end of the day that I've found the balance between all of those things and not dedicated too much time to one thing.
Okay.
And so success is instinctual for me. If I feel good or I've given too much to one thing on the day before, it's about correcting that the next day. Yeah. Getting that balance and that zen back.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. This is great. I could talk to you for a long time.
I know, you've got a line of people waiting.
But I've got a lot of people over here.
I know, you're a popular man.
Get in the comments. Let me know what you think. What does success mean to you? If you've got questions, hit that like button. And let's give Karen a round of applause here. Huh?
Thank you.
Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody. All right, I'm going to need your microphone. So good to see you.
Yeah,
I'll
you
see
too.
you tonight. And Daisy, who do we got next? All right, we got a nice. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Thanks, Karen. So good to see you. Yep, awesome. And we've got Brandon Day from Dacos. Brandon here, clip in there, buddy. Brandon are you a first-time attendee?
I am a first-time attendee.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, isn't that cool? Like, with all the things that you've done in your career, you're still finding like new ways to kind of make an impact and get out there.
You know, it's been, I'm gonna try to get this clipped. Okay. It's been kind of fun. Like, it's been a long time since I've been to a conference for the first time.
Where nobody knew who you were.
Nobody knew who I was. And
there's
there's more people here I knew than I thought I would know.
Yeah.
You know, I go to, as you know, I saw you last week in Vegas at IAM. My first IAM was 1997, so I've been going, every year. I go to NDTA, I go to ATA and AMSA before that.
Yep.
And so I've been going so long that you don't get to, you just kind of judge it, oh, this is better than last year, worse than this.
Yeah.
You come here and it's like all fresh, right? Like it's just like all brand new. And it's been super fun, some of those other ones I feel like, and I am in particular, like I've been there so long, I felt like there was a time in like the late 90s, I was a new guy and I didn't know anybody. And then there was this period where I couldn't, I just knew too many people. It's hard to enjoy it because I was too much work. Now I'm kind of on the downhill slide, like I look around and I'm like, who are all these young people who showed up at IAM, But this allows me to feel young again because I'm the new guy trying to figure out stuff.
I love at this stage of my career exactly what you're saying. Walking into a room where I don't know anybody feels like walking into a room of opportunity for me. Because thank you, we're doing it live right now. Thanks so much. Yeah, we have fans here who are they're like, I love it. Well, hey, you're on it now. So but it feels that to me is the feeling of walking into a room full of opportunity.
Yeah, and at my age, I'm quite a bit older than you, but my age, getting to learn anything new is cool, right?
Yeah.
Like it's fun. It kind of makes you feel young again. So it's not just the conference, but hearing, going to sessions and trying to learn a little bit more about it. It's a rare opportunity in some cases. So it's been fun.
Yeah, this is it's great. Well, I'm glad you're here. I love Brandon's company. I'm just going to go out and say this. I love Brandon's company, the best company from a billing and audit standpoint in the relocation space. You guys bill probably more than anybody bills in this space. $1.6 billion, I think.
Roughly, yeah.
That's a lot of money.
A lot of money flows through our office there in Norfolk, Nebraska.
You guys are trusted by the biggest brands in this space, and so how do you build a company like that with that kind of a reputation and legacy?
I think a lot of it is showing up and doing the work over a long period of time. We've been in business 46 years, and so it's a lot of, putting in the time, earning trust, doing good work.
Yeah.
And it's no shortcuts. There's no, isn't that, if I had a quick answer, it'd be great. I'd sell that. I'd write a book and sell that. But the truth is, you just show up and you try to do good work. You try to partner with people, and if you do good work and you treat people fair, then that comes back to you. So that's been our experience in that space.
So it wasn't like an overnight success, a 43-year overnight success?
Not quite. Not quite. Just every little bit, just a little bit, get a little better each year. We have, one of our core values is be better tomorrow than we are today, which is like the one I kind of live my life by.
It's hard when you're getting old, though.
It is hard when you're getting old. But you know what? And it's all about, I'm not trying to change who I am every day. I'm not trying to go from 0 to 100. I'm trying to go from 0 to 0.1 today. And then tomorrow I'll go to 0.2 and do some of that. So, that's why coming to like this. That's a
so
part.
I wanted to ask you about this, right? So you're a first-time attendee, but you guys have been in business, for so long. And hit that like button, get in the comments if you got questions for Brandon Day at Dacos. But why now? Why here? What do you hope to get out of WERC?
Yeah, so, as you know, we've worked historically in the government space. We've done a lot of work in that area and the volumes of DoD and GSA work. And, for a long time, we just kept where we were comfortable and knew. And I think, we're at a point now, there's been obviously a lot of turmoil in that space. We have, kind of worked through that, and we're looking and saying, okay, we've developed tremendous assets, a lot of technology, a lot of expertise. Where else could we deploy those assets? And so I come here not to sort of say, hey, here's Dacos, we're going to go do all these great things, but it's to learn about how is this aspect of it different than what we're, I know what Dacos can do. I know what our skills are. So I'm just trying to figure out, kind of how this part of the industry works and where the opportunities lie. And so it's a lot of learning and listening and showing up and, but that's what I like to do. That's what I like to do. And I think that's where I think there's opportunity. And so this is my first meeting, but it won't be my last.
Well, I gotta think that there's amazing opportunity like in the RMC space to partner with Dacos. I mean, from what I've seen from what you guys have done with, machine learning and things like that when it comes to like, these repetitive tasks and processing invoices and doing these things at scale with speed, and what I've seen you do on the government side, I mean, it's different, but it's still relocation. I mean, it's very similar, right?
The concepts are the same, and I guess the advantage of working in the DoD side is you're working with such a volume that you really have to get good at the technology part. You have to get it so you can do it efficiently, cost effective. Margins are thin, and so you gotta be able to operate in that environment. And we've been successful in that environment, and we think there's opportunities in other environments, and it's just a matter of kind of figuring out where those are. But again, we don't presume to come in and dictate and say, hey, we did this, we're going to figure out all this. It's a learning process, and I'm always kind of when people come into, I see this sometimes. People come into the DoD world. You get a lot of military people who change over, and so they come in and they think they understand your industry immediately because they have some connection, and generally it proves not to be true. I'll tell you one story. A guy came in. He was the new military leader of the thing, and he met me. Like he was 2 weeks in. He met me. And he goes, "Oh, I've heard about your company. You're a crook." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, that's a good introduction."
It's a great way to start a conversation.
So I'm like, "Okay, sir, tell me why you think I'm a crook." And he said, "Because you charge people to do stuff that they should be able to do themselves. Bill the government." And I said, "Okay, sir." I said, "I'll make you a deal." I said, "Why don't you, spend the next few months learning about, what's involved in that process? And then if you still think I'm a crook, come tell me I'm a crook after you've been here 2 months."
Take a look at the 400 NG rating tool and the paperwork that you get back from these movers, and you tell me, if you didn't earn our money.
Very next time I saw him, we were in a meeting, makes a beeline for me, and he said, "Brandon, I was wrong." I was wrong.
That's like saying every CPA is a crook out there because somebody should be able to file their own taxes.
And he was good natured about it. Shout out to Joe Schaefer, who's still a friend of Joe Schaefer, Colonel Schaefer at the time, but now he's in the industry, and so.
Oh my gosh, that's great. I love when you have those kinds of relationships where you start off on one kind of the wrong foot with somebody because of people have these biases, right? And then over time you can change their mind and. I don't know. I take a lot of satisfaction.
I do too, and I like people who will be up front.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather have someone tell me, you know, I've had meetings when I go into, and we're a relatively small company in Norfolk, Nebraska. We have like 60 employees, and we handle a high volume. But there's kind of an inherent bias of, okay, you're the small company, and what do you know? And I'll go into a company that may be a large publicly traded company or a Fortune 500 company, and I'll talk to them about why we can service their business. And a lot of times there's immediate, those guys are like, we don't need you. And I had one guy on the phone who I remember the first phone call I was on with him, he said, Brandon, with all due respect, do you know how much money our company bills and collects every single day? I don't know why I'm on the phone call with you. And it was one of these meetings with like 20 people and everybody jumps in to like save me. And I'm like, no, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I want to hear this. I'm like, that is an excellent point, sir. Let me tell you why I think we can still help you despite the fact that your company may handle billions on their own.
Right.
Here's why we can bring some specialty expertise and the volume for you.
Right.
And I just.
And what happened?
We got the business.
Wow.
We got the business. And I laugh about it with that guy still to this day. I'm like, hey, remember that first time we were on the phone call and you told me you didn't want to talk to me anymore?
And 20 years later, we're still friends. I love it.
But that's just, that's the nature. I want people to be honest. I only want people to use this if we can bring value, right?
Yeah.
And if I'm not here to, try to sell someone on something they don't need.
Exactly.
I'm confident enough in what we can do that I think for most companies we can find an area where we can bring benefit. And if not, then good luck to them, and we'll support them.
And if you take that approach, it takes all the pressure off of it, and that's when things like become cool and they're easy. It's when you try to shove a square peg in a round hole that it gets weird,
And I'm a big long-term guy. And we're a great, we're very fortunate as Daycos is that we are, we've been around a long time. We're debt-free. We don't take any outside money. We can do whatever we want, from a growth standpoint. So I don't have this pressure of, hey, I got to sell somebody today.
Yep.
I got to, or I can't pay, bills, or I can't meet this. We never have that.
Yeah.
So we can think, hey, let's think about this the long-term way. What's the long-term way to get this done right? What's the way to build a relationship? What's the way to, educate ourselves on different things and educate other people on what we can do? And our experience has been, over the course of 46 years, that pays off. And it's good for us. It's good. We think it's good for our customers, and it's a great way to do business too.
Love it. We got some comments coming in here. Get in the comments. Hit that like button. Daisy, ready for our next one here? Let's see. Richard says Christensen. In Germany. We got people checking, talking about burgers. We got hamburgers going on here in the comments here. Hit that like button. Scott Canary says, I hear if one more person from Daycos appears on the show this month, we get a free set of steak knives. That's nice.
You managed to keep me off this show for how many years you been doing this?
4
years.
Five,
and now you got me
twice
in 1 month.
Yeah, well, by year 5, you start to really scrape the bottom of the barrel. You start really running out of ideas. And then you're like, wow, that Brandon guy was pretty good. You're like one of those guys, you talk to him once, you talk to him forever. You're like, I guess we're not Brandon
You're like, we need to fill some space. I know a guy who could talk a long time and say nothing worthwhile.
Well, I've known you for probably 10 plus years.
Yeah, a long time.
And I've always liked you, but I haven't known you on a deep level. Yeah. And now I've gotten to know you on a deep level, and I really like you.
I was going to say, that's usually why people like me, is when they don't know me on a deep level.
It's like how people binge episodes of TV shows. I'm binging Brandon Day over here, All right, well, get out of here, Brandon. Not enough of you. Thanks,
good to see you, man.
Thanks so much. I need that mic back,
I know.
buddy.
I will share it.
Daisy's got the next guest up here. Yes. Cool. Let's go. We got Bruce here.
This is official.
Bruce.
Oh, this is Bruce.
Multi-time author.
Do I just click this on?
Like right
Hold
here?
on, our Wi-Fi
This
is
is
having
fantastic.
trouble here.
The Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it might make your face kind of blurry, which wouldn't be the worst thing
Oh boy.
in the world.
Oh
I guess.
boy. Am I looking here? Like, I love your setup. Like, this is fantastic.
You can lock in there. You can lock in with me.
I love that.
I feel like you're so intense and passionate about everything you do, Bruce. And
I love it.
I love that energy about you, man. You probably
Thanks, man.
the only person that has more energy than me. How do you do it? How do you stay so on fire all the time?
I don't know about that. Listen, we're in an in-fire industry, aren't we?
Well,
Isn't this
something's on
exciting?
fire. I think we can all agree. Well, no, but how do you bring the passion every day?
Yeah,
man?
I think it's all about.
What drives you?
I just gave the Ignite talk.
Yeah.
I think we're all living in significance. You know what I mean? And it just feels good.
Well, you're living in
be able to help
significance
it.
for sure, and I think
thanks,
I am,
man.
and I think that's what.
Oh, no
that's why
question.
it's exciting. That's why it's exciting to be here.
Oh, no question. Yeah.
And I love the talk. I love the talk you gave at the Ignite session just
it was
before.
great.
Shout out to Ben Heller
Ben
for putting
Heller.
those things together.
Yeah.
What he does is a real service for the industry. And get in the comments here if you've got questions. And Bruce, you've written a few books too.
Yes.
That's always been a life goal of mine. How did you get to the point where you could author a book?
I love that, and I can't wait till your book comes out. I'm just going to go ahead and say that right now.
Yeah, we'll speak that in
interesting.
in
I think where it started, you just have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And so for me, I thought, how can I give more value to customers? So I started a newsletter, and then it morphed into a blog. And then one year I said, hey, you know what? I wonder if I can capture these stories, and I turned it into a book, Find Your Lane.
Wow.
And a funny story,
So you took
when I
a bunch
hit the
of content-
publish button, I was a little nervous about that. But then all of a sudden, people like the vulnerability.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
People love the vulnerability. I like that. So that's a cool process, though. You kind of started blogging, and then you kind of took the blogs and kind of anthologized them into kind of a book, and maybe had an editor probably help you kind of put it together.
Yeah,
Or you self-edit it.
What's interesting, we come to these conferences and you think about the learning and the networking. So I was at another conference and I met a guy who had self-published a book. And a few years later, he had given me a book, and I pulled it out later and I called him and said, hey, how's this work?
Yeah.
And so he had a great editor, and I called her and she helped me edit it, and the rest is history.
It's incredible. And now
Thanks.
now you do speaking engagements.
Yeah.
I mean, where have you spoke before?
Yeah. So a lot is through associations, through the
Okay.
Texas SHRM. I do a lot of that.
Okay.
And that's been a lot of fun. I've been doing a lot of corporate speaking as well.
Wow.
That's been fantastic. A lot of lunch and learns.
Yep.
And a lot of it's from this, Ben.
Yeah.
The podcast.
Yeah, the podcast.
You just take all the wisdom and everything you're learning from that, and then you go share it.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing?
It is. And plug your podcast and how people can find it.
Yeah,
So.
Life in the Leadership Lane. I would love for you to listen. I really called it Life in the Leadership Lane because I feel like anyone can be a leader. They really want to pigeonhole an industry and so.
What do you think is one of the biggest misconceptions about leadership?
Oh man, that's a great question. I
Thanks.
think one of the biggest misconceptions is you think you have to have a title
Yeah.
to be the leader.
Somebody's going to appoint you the leader.
Yeah.
Anoint you.
Well, I don't know if I can do that. I'm not the vice president or the general manager, but you know what? One of the biggest challenges for me, I got to lead myself. I got to tell myself, get up, go to the gym, do the work.
Yeah.
And so, anybody can be a leader. And so I've had 203, probably not as many as you yet, but 203 podcasts.
That's amazing.
Isn't that awesome?
That's a lot.
And so it's been fantastic.
That's a lot.
It's been a lot of fun.
Most people statistically don't make it past 12.
Yes,
So
right.
so nice job.
So
nice job with that.
Yep. So
Staying
what's your biggest takeaway from the conference so far?
consistent. My
One
gosh.
takeaway.
Well, I mean, we were just talking about it earlier, and I think it was from your talk. How do you define success,
Yeah.
right?
Oh.
And I love the fact you talked about impact. And so I love that. I think from a strategic level, talking about global mobility, the biggest takeaway is that we do not operate at a high enough level in organizations. We are selling into and operating at a low tactical reactive level, and we do not know how to sell what we do and our capabilities. They almost need to be repackaged to be able to be sold into the C-suite. I see the future of global mobility being informing companies on how and where to do business. Like what country do you open that manufacturing plant in, and why? And then the how comes later, the tactical. And we've been doing the how for a long time, but if we can start to talk strategically about where and why, you start opening, globalizing these large companies, and I think that's where we start to find our significance, and I think that's where we unlock a lot of value.
I'm going to have you on my podcast because we could have a long conversation about this, because I think at the end of the day, it's doing the hard work, right? It's building the business case and telling the story and helping people understand the why. And I think that's exactly where you're going. So this has been a lot of fun, man.
It is. We got a lot of people standing by
Yes,
here.
you
Get in
got
the
a whole
comments,
crowd
like,
here.
Hit that like button. Hey,
Thanks,
Bruce
brother.
Law, thanks so much for stopping
keep
by.
doing what you're doing, man.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate
Living
you.
in.
Hey, you got to come on. You got to come on the pod. We'll give you a full hour in Richardson in the office.
I can't wait, brother.
All right, love it, brother.
Keep doing it.
Thanks so much. All right, Daisy, who's next? Let's make it quick. Who we got? Yes, Lori. I can't wait. I've been waiting for Lori Allen for so long. Lori, it's so good to see you.
It is really good to see you, Ben.
Here, put that mic on you.
You got it.
There you go. While Lori's getting situated, I got to tell a quick story. I have a special spot in my heart for Lori, because Lori and her company MSI were my first client in the relocation space, the first people that gave me a chance and believed that I may not be completely full of it, and invited me into their office, and we did webinars. We became really good partners, and first people I was ever quoted in Mobility Magazine. Shout out to Tom Colucci, right?
Yes,
Love
yeah,
Tom.
yep.
You know, he quoted me in one of his articles for Mobility Magazine, and we just did a lot of my firsts in this space were partnering with you and your company.
Well, you were
thank
so great to us too, and you really came through for a couple of big projects that we
Yeah.
had back at that time.
I remember going to Cranberry Township. I want to say was it Pennsylvania or New Jersey?
Yep.
For a group move.
Yes.
And doing like a, what do they call them? Like a trade show, like when you, hey, here's your moving, here's your policy, here's your whatever.
Yes, it was like group move presentation.
Group
yes.
move presentations.
Yes.
I had never done that before. Anyway, yeah. So just a lot of wonderful memories.
A lot of love. And, when we did that, when we first started working together, I think you were 9 years old and
Yeah,
I was
think it's
15.
nine, that's
so
right. We were just teenagers.
We've
back
known
then.
each other a long time, let's just
Yeah.
say that.
Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you here.
Yeah, it's been really fun. I'm having a great time here at the conference, and I
Yeah.
know you are because I see you everywhere.
I try to just have fun.
You
have
have
fun
to.
first, and then figure out how to monetize it later, So do you have any takeaways from this conference that kind of stood out to you?
Just how I'm reminded of how amazing this industry is when
my
we all
gosh.
get together like this, that as much as this is work and we're in it for profit, but there is such a feeling of, caring and looking to work for other people, right? And take care of these people who are moving. And that's a lot of what it means to me. I take this very seriously. I try to be conscious all the time that these people who are moving, they're picking up their whole family, uprooting their entire lives.
Yeah.
And it's a big undertaking, and also taking on, probably a new job. And so when we get together as this group, it reminds me how important that is, and that we're also committed to it.
Yeah.
And trying to help people out. It's such a great feeling to be among this.
Yeah, it is, and I think because of the purpose in the work that we do, I think it attracts a certain type of person.
100%. I say it all the time. People at MSI have a certain kind of personality, and if they don't, they typically just don't work out.
Yeah.
And not because we have to performance manage anybody or anything like that. It's just not for them. It's not the right fit.
Yeah.
And we don't have a lot of it because we can usually tell
Yeah.
when we're interviewing someone.
Yeah, and this, and I've worked with y'all for a long time, and I used to always love going up to New Hampshire, and visiting, what was it, the Lindt chocolate
The Lindt
store
chocolate
over there.
factory right there
hit
is
that Lindt chocolate
a
factory
nice little
chocolate.
bonus of being near our office.
Yeah. So how have you been? It's been a minute since I've chatted with you. So what are you doing nowadays?
I'm running ops at MSI.
Running ops.
Yep.
Look at you.
We are doing everything at this point. We're heavy into the comp world and the EOR world, which is becoming bigger and bigger.
I love that you're doing that, though. Tell me a little bit about what strategically, kind of why that's a focus in the EOR
because
space.
there's so many companies out there that are looking to expand into a new market, but we're all becoming much more aware of the tax implication and the entity implication.
Yeah.
And it's a scary proposition. You try to send somebody into a country, it's like, oh, they're just gonna deal things out and do some sales and
Do a
no
little
problem.
this, little that.
And then you find out, 2 months in, that's like, oh, wait a minute, now technically we have an entity in this
Yes.
country. So it's a great opportunity for a company to send somebody in there and kind of get their feet wet and figure out if it makes sense to go through the time and expense of setting up.
Well, and I love the way you think about the business, right? Because I remember, it was MSI, and now it's MSI Global Talent Solutions. And y'all have really embraced kind of just what I said before about thinking more strategically. What is that about, and maybe kind of how do y'all do things a little differently?
Well, we talk about that with MSI, the differences in the how, because everybody, we all kind of do the same thing, but we try to take a really consultative approach, looking at the business as a whole and how can we support it from a lot of different directions, and trying to really get a new client to work collaboratively from within. We take that opportunity where we're new to them, and we try to get them to pull other departments in, and then we facilitate the conversation between those other departments to get them to work better together and collaborate. I've heard a lot. I was just in a session about kind of navigating the tax maze and the challenges of like remote work or just, the 183-day rule, but it's not just the 183 days for the individual, it's how many people have been there, and same thing, like are you setting up a corporate tax matter?
Okay.
And they say it's trying to get someone to come to Global Mobility and even remember to tell them, yes, I'm sending these 7 people and maybe they're going to be in that country for 30 days each. Well, actually, that's 210 days now total for the company.
Yeah.
You have to think about that. So we try to, during our implementation or even just ongoing work with companies, get them to talk to each other and kind of force them into the room together.
I love it, and that's what has to happen. I mean, that's what has to happen. And how do you do that though? Like, give us some tips here, Lori. Teach us, okay? How do you get these folks to work cross-functionally? It's funny, like they already work for the same company and they're not communicating and collaborating. I mean, how do you go in there and facilitate that as a third party?
You have to actually try to put some skin in the game on the personal side, and I do this a lot too, even just at a smaller level. We're coming into year end, right? Here in the US, we're all getting ready for year end and taxes and gross ups and all those reports. And my favorite example is I love when we get on a year end call with a client and we start talking about cutoff dates, and the payroll department says, okay, well, we need to have the final report by such and such date, and we start backing it up. And the HR person's like, oh, no, we need them to be able to get reimbursed much later than that. Can't we push it out to such and such date? And I'm like, well, we can, sure, we can do that. You just have to tell your payroll colleagues and get them on board that they're going to have a miserable Christmas week because they have to be in the office that whole week working on the reporting. So as long as you get them on page with that, and then it's like, oh, wait a minute, no, I don't. So we try to really remind them of how their actions are going to impact someone else, because they are co-workers, right? And they care about each other. So when you make it personal like that, suddenly they have a different perspective.
Yeah, show them how their actions have implications on those other departments.
Yeah,
love it. Great strategy here, Lori. This has been so good to see you.
Yeah, I really. This has been so great to connect and catch up.
Yeah, this has been really great, and love being here in DC.
Is this location not so beautiful?
It's beautiful, and the big windows out onto the Potomac, and you got the Ferris wheel going.
I've been to DC before, but I've never really been to the Maryland side specifically, and it is just gorgeous. And thanks for the 80-degree weather, by the way, Universe. We're really enjoying that.
No rain, sunny, beautiful. Have you had a Maryland crab cake yet?
Funny you should ask. It's on my agenda. I'm not leaving here till I get one. I haven't yet, but we are working on that.
Eat the crab, people. Anyway, this has been great, Lori. I could talk to you for a long time, but I gotta.
You have other people, and we gotta. Yes, I know. Everybody wants to be on the show. It's a big hit.
This is great. It's so good to see you, Lori.
All right, Ben.
Can I get that mic back?
Yes, you can.
So good to see you.
Yes, you can.
Oh, good stuff. And give my regards to the team.
I will,
all right,
absolutely.
Talk soon.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye. All right. Oh, my goodness. Pamela Stevenson coming in here. This is fantastic. We got people checking in here. Janet, Richard, Christian. Hit that like button. Get in the comments here. Ben Sukia on deck over here with Zane or Zan, maybe, depending on where you live in the world. Why don't you take that? Can you clip that right onto your thing? There you go. We'll do that. Let's do that. How about that? There we go. Pamela, how you doing?
I'm fine.
It's so good to see you.
It's good to see you.
Oh my goodness. And Pamela, tell people out there maybe who don't know, where do you work and what do you do?
Oh, my name is Pamela Stevenson, and I work for the Bureau of Census. I've been there 45 years.
45 years.
And I work in the I've been doing relocation for 45 years.
45 years.
At Bureau of the Census.
God bless. That is fabulous. 45 years. You must have seen so much change and stuff happen over the years.
I was just telling somebody that today.
Let me ask you first. Let's start because I want the whole story. How did you get into relocation 45 years ago?
Oh, 45 years ago when I graduated, I went to college.
Yeah.
And then I came back home and I took the civil service test.
Okay.
And I got a job at the Census Bureau 2 weeks after I got married.
Oh goodness. Okay.
So then when I came back, and it was called shipping and receiving.
Shipping and receiving.
So we just did shipping.
Yeah. Of people
no,
stuff.
not at first. We was just doing freight.
Oh, okay, just freight.
We would ship freight.
Okay.
And then we did relocation also. So,
Okay.
but as time went on, more people decided they want to come to this area. So when they came to this area, then they developed a relocation program,
Okay.
so that the government would pay to relocate them from place to place.
Wow. Okay.
So-
and so it moved from shipping and receiving to
To-
now include relocation.
Then after relocation, they moved relocation out of the shipping and receiving area because they just wanted primarily to deal with
Yeah.
freight.
Right. Because freight people don't like household goods.
No, they
stuff.
don't like household
No,
goods,
'cause-
so you can't
yeah.
intertwine them.
Yeah, because we say our freight cries. You know, our freight will call you up and cry at you.
So then we got into the relocation business. Then they reorged and they took the relocation bill piece and put it in the travel management.
Oh, and travel.
Right. So we're now in travel management, and which is located in the finance division. So we
Okay.
fall under the finance
Okay.
division.
Okay.
And so we do relocation, passports, credit cards. We do everything.
Wow. Wow. Relocation passports. So now, and you're in finance. Now, how is it different being in the finance? Like I'm always curious because relocation sits in different parts of
Right.
organizations, you know, and I'm always curious like how it's handled maybe differently from a different perspective, based on kind of where it sits. You know. What's
Okay,
that
now
like?
that is in the finance area, then we don't have to worry about budget. We do everything in-house. Like we're able
Okay.
to process the paperwork, and we're also able to pay the vendor.
Okay.
Because we have payment analysts in the area that does that. And I do the household good parts. I do all the moving,
You do all
setting
the
up,
moving.
making the arrangements.
Okay.
And then after I do it, it goes to an auditor. Then it goes to our financial payment analyst. The financial payment analyst would then, in turn, pay it.
Okay.
So everything that's in-house now is easier and faster, time efficient.
Now, how many folks are working on that team?
We have 15, but on my
15.
team is only 4.
Wow. And what services do you offer relocating employees? What benefits?
Well, when they come to the area, we set up their household goods. We call the vendor. We do everything, and the government pays for it.
Yeah. And then like what about temp living and corporate housing? Do y'all do that
We
too?
used to do that.
Uh-huh.
Now we got to reincorporate it because we're 100% remote.
Yep.
So now that we're getting ready to go back into the building, we have to reestablish that.
Okay.
So we're getting ready. I was just talking to someone now about he's going to help me with that home sales part.
Yep. Wow. That's so interesting.
Yep, we
That's
have
so
to do it
cool.
all.
Let's see here. We got people checking in here. Janet Turner says, happy to hear from another veteran in this industry. I am about 45 years myself. Hey, Janet Turner, good to see you out there. Miss you, Janet. This is great. This is fantastic. We got people networking in the comments. Rachel, Richard, hit that like button. Get in here if you got questions for Pamela Stevenson here. Pam, how many folks are here at the conference with you?
5 of us.
5 of y'all, huh?
Right.
Is that because it's so close to home for
Right.
you?
We don't travel. We don't get out much.
Travel, don't travel? Come
No.
on, y'all got to travel a little bit. Okay, so this is a nice little home game for you. You get to come over here and enjoy the wonderful conference. What has it been like for you?
Oh, it's been a great experience.
Has it?
Just learning and meeting new people.
Yeah.
I love people.
Yeah.
So just meeting new people.
Yeah, I see that. You do have a heart for folks, don't you?
I love people. I like to go. I just love to meet people from different areas because I like to travel. So I
Yeah.
figure if I meet them,
Yeah.
I met a lady this morning from Dubai, so I'll be over there to visit you.
Yeah, come to Dubai. Where's the most interesting place you've traveled to?
Hawaii.
Hawaii, yeah.
And I'm getting ready to go to Panama
Panama
in 2 weeks.
in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I love to travel.
Wait, but now why have you stayed in this industry for so long? You know, you hear people talk about how much has changed and everything, and you know, some people are excited about it. A lot of people say it's, you know, shrinking and everything. But I mean, I think about somebody like yourself that's been doing it for 45 years, and what keeps you going in this industry?
Just being around the people,
Yeah.
and making them happy and accommodating them,
Yeah.
and making it less stressful for their move,
Yeah.
taking the stress out their worries.
Yeah. What is one of the things that does stress people out the most about relocating?
Some people just moving to a new city.
Yeah.
And then they don't know the area, and then you go on the internet and you try to pull up housing, and then when you try to pull up housing, sometimes you don't pick the best area because what's on the internet is not what you actually see.
Right.
And then new hires, they don't get no house hunting trip.
Oh, really?
No.
So they got to do it all kind of virtually,
Right.
huh?
So that way, when they do that, they don't get to see the place that they picked to move in. I try to tell them about schools for their children.
Right.
Because and that's another concern.
Yeah, schools
They want to
always
be in a
concern.
good area for their children to go to school.
Oh, yeah. Is there anything that maybe you've seen this week or learned this week being at this conference that maybe kind of stands out to you a little bit?
I learned about how you have to trust and have good communication.
How's that?
That good communication, have a good relationship with your vendors and your peers, and when you have a good relationship with all, it all works together.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny you say that because that's such a honestly, it's kind of a fundamental old school idea, and we talk about how much things change, but the more they change, the more they stay the same, and those old school principles are as true today as they ever were. Trust, reputation, taking care of people, you know, it's like that stuff still plays today. So important. Ms. Stevenson, it's so nice to have you here.
It was nice to
It's
be
been a
here.
blessing to
It's
have
been
you
a
here.
blessing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm gonna take that mic away from you, and I think we got one more guest coming up here.
All right.
We got a 2-for-1 to end the show.
Okay.
Thank you so much, and
All
I'll
right.
see you later. I'll see you at the party tonight, okay?
Uh-huh.
All right, Miss Pamela Stevenson here. Census coming up here. Let's see here. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna move into the middle here. We're gonna try something different here, all right? We're gonna move into the middle here. We got a 2-for-1 coming, all right? Yeah, in the middle. I'm middling. I'm middling here, okay? And then I got a lav here, and I got a lav there, and I'm just, oh gee whiz, Ben. All right, hello. Put that lav on your lapel and face it towards me. Put this lav on your lapel.
Thanks.
Face it towards me.
Yeah.
And let's see if we can't just figure this thing out ourselves.
Great.
Huh? All right, y'all. There you go. Well, we're here. We got Ben Sukia.
Yes.
And I say Zane. Everybody keeps telling me it's Zan. Zan? Zan? You sure? Zan the man? Man, all right. All right, Ben the man. Zan the man over here of Centuro Global. And it's really, really nice to have you here. Thank you for having us. Yeah. Well, anything for
Good to
Ben
be back.
Sukia over here. You know, Ben's one of my favorite people. We
Thank
got
you
the
very
bands
much.
going.
It's true.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And before we get into Centuro Global, because y'all have a new report that you just released, but I want to really talk about something more important than that, and that's Ben's love life, actually.
I'm here for that purpose only.
Yeah, and speaking of which, shout out to your mother. Hi, Miss Sukia.
And Dad.
It's been
In Mauritius.
nice to see y'all out there, my fans in Mauritius. We love y'all, the Sukias. But I have to ask you, Ben. I heard a rumor that that you found love through the show, through Love and Relo.
I found
that
love
like?
through Love and Relo.
Yeah.
That's true. True
what
story.
happened?
So I met my partner on a dating app,
Yeah,
and she rightly, understandably wanted to vet me.
yeah. As anyone that meets you should.
Anyone that meets me should. She
Yeah.
put my name into Google and YouTube, and what came up? August 2021, our tete-a-tete, our kind of
August 2021, the day that we're living infamy. Okay.
And from that we met, we hit it off, things went well, and now I have a 9-month-old daughter who's going to be,
Wow.
thanks to Love and Relo.
Now,
So
if that
the real
interview-
love in Love and
if
Relo.
that interview had not
Shout
gone
out to Tanya
well,
and Amaya, yeah.
Yeah, if that had not gone well, then you would be.
I wouldn't be here.
You would be childless right now.
I'd be childish just wandering the halls of,
Yeah.
of the conference venue, just, without any purpose in life.
I got to
But
be
now
honest
I do.
with you. I've heard a lot of things this
Yeah.
week, and that is the best story I've heard. this
It's
whole
true.
week.
Thank you, Ben.
No,
you.
thank you.
Yeah.
That's a real blessing. I do. You could have at least named the child after me or something. It would have been an easy thing to do. Wouldn't it?
Well, this is to tell you are the godfather. Of
I'm the
child.
godfather?
Yeah.
It's a lot of responsibility. I accept. Well, that's great.
Thank you.
Now we have someone that's gotten married, had a kid.
Yep.
We've got I heard a couple people who have gotten jobs recently. People who have come up to me and say, you interviewed me 4 years ago, and my father won't stop playing the interview over and over again. So it's a blessing, an unintended consequence, if you will, and a real blessing that this is happening. Yeah. But let's talk about something. Hey, Ashley, how's it going? This is cool. The expo hall is kind of opening up here for the last hurrah here. But Zan, the man, I have to ask you. I've been hearing a lot about Centurion Global. You guys are really making waves out there, doing a lot of cool stuff. And I heard there's something about an AI report that you guys are releasing.
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
Well, everyone's talking about AI. It's the talk of the town.
I've never heard of it.
For the past couple of years. But the EU recently released legislation to govern AI. And no one's really talking about it.
So you have governance. I don't think we have anything over here. We're just like the Wild West.
Exactly. We have GDPR and then California borders privacy. This is like the GDPR of AI.
Okay.
So I think it's a big one. It's going to cause a lot of ripples. It doesn't matter where in the world you are. You work for anyone in the EU, even one person.
Even one person. If I ever talk to a British guy over a pint, oh jeez. Now I'm governed by this. Is this a trap to get me governed by this law?
15 million euro fines if you're in Greece.
Well, good luck. I got no euros. Okay. Good luck getting that.
It's true.
Anyway, yeah, but no, that's okay. That sounds important. So what do we need to know about it?
So we prepared this report. It breaks it all down. It's super simple.
Okay.
For immigration, global mobility, more generally. It's actually not as scary as it sounds.
Well, it sounds pretty scary. 15 million euro fine.
It's mostly
for talking to a British person. I mean, that's 30 million euro right now.
Exactly. Well, Ben owes you, right? So,
yeah, you guys owe me. Yeah. We are doing a recording. Thanks. We were just told that we look like we're doing a recording.
It's good to know.
That's odd.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just shows you how official the setup is, right? Nobody actually knows what we're doing. Okay, so I owe 30 million euro. Now, what do I need to not do to be in jeopardy here?
So the risk comes down to your activity. So it's not actually the nature of your business. So if you're doing things that are going to jeopardize somebody entering a country, so racial profiling, for using AI to make decisions,
okay,
border control, biometrics, for immigration firms or global mobility firms to use AI without a human checking, there's a risk of bias.
Oh wow.
Then you're in trouble. Obviously, it's going to be hard to see how monitor that.
So it seems like almost an immigration or something. If you were to use AI to advise somebody about maybe a visa or something like that, and you didn't have a human's oversight, that would be something that might be problematic.
Yeah, potentially it's up there. I think that would be medium risk. They've broken it down to high risk and medium risk.
What's the most high risk thing I could do besides talking to you guys right now?
Anything that really affects someone's life. So,
as if maybe using AI to do an interview with Ben Sukia where the girl doesn't want to marry him or something like that.
Exactly.
That would affect his life.
Potential, yeah.
we wouldn't have had a chance.
No, it's a good thing we didn't use AI back then. Yeah. So is there something that like people are doing now? Like, I mean, you don't have to name names, you can, but or that maybe that we should stop doing?
No, I don't think so. I think because AI is relative, it's been around forever, but application of it is quite new. So I think this is the first legislation where they've actually brought it out early. And there's a 2-year grace period for everyone to figure it out and understand it.
So we have 2 more years to be out of compliance.
More or less. I mean, there's stages to it. There's different things you need to comply with over several months. But fully 2 years is what to figure it out.
Why was this report important for Centurion Global to put together?
So we are developing AI solutions specifically for global immigration. And we've got quite a unique platform that supports with that. And so we thought we help people comply with global immigration laws. So why not put together a report to help them comply? Then everyone wants to use AI. So we're trying to be thought leaders in this space. We're leading the way with AI. We wanted to demonstrate that and share that wisdom with everyone.
Yeah, I agree. I also think, Ben, lots of companies are talking about AI and their AI tools, but one thing that we want to do as a company, it's always about thinking about the wider world and a purpose is educate, right? We want to create education. So people like my parents or people that kind of from different generations have no idea what AI is, but also we're talking about AI and what we can offer and sell but what we can do to help people develop as well, and that's what we want to do as a company, as well as offer those tools. So I think that's really important as well. This is also going to affect geopolitics in the wider world, especially because different countries are going to come out with different regulations.
How do you see that? How is it going to affect geopolitics?
It means that with the EU AI Act coming in place, although it can affect lots of countries, whichever country or region sets the rules, other countries and regions will have to follow those rules. So in effect, whichever country goes first with the rules, other countries will kind of imitate that. So the country that comes out first with them will set the narrative. And the US is not the country that come out first, it's the EU that is coming out first. But also we don't know what's going to happen next year and the coming years in the United States and also countries like China. The big one is what's China and Asia going to do and what's the US going to do. But the EU are the ones that will come out with it first, and we need to understand this because other countries will probably follow suit.
That's really interesting. What more do you think is going to come out as far as AI governance? Because it seems like an area that needs some guidelines out there.
Yeah, it's a tricky one because going back to the geopolitics, if you look at the previous 10, 20 years, the US has dominated in the cloud, Amazon, Microsoft. This is the first time where every country is trying to build their own AI.
Yeah.
Because they're saying we don't want to rely on the US, we need to have our own way of doing things. But then governance, like you said, you need to have one framework that governs everything. Right. If everyone's doing their own thing, China's going to do something, the US is going to do something, it's like, well, how do you govern it?
Yeah.
So it's a weird one, but the EU is kind of trying to move away. And they're the first ones out the block, so it'll be interesting to see who else follows and how.
Yeah.
It's true.
You have something to add?
I know you're not a man that loves rules, Ben.
No, I'm an American.
And there's this nuance, there's this dance between, I love rules, as you know, but there's this dance between rules and regulation and innovation, right? And I think that's a really interesting conversation that we could talk much more about.
That's the dance that we were doing last night.
That's the dance that we were doing
rules
to...
and the innovation and the regulation. And
to a bit of Drake, yeah.
It was like, hey, rules, innovation, regulation.
I saw you moving. You got moved, my friend.
I was.
I saw you go, yeah.
That's a big hit.
Everything in my Centro Global's #1 smash hit.
It's true. So yeah, I think that discussion is important because the more regulation we have, does that limit innovation? But at the same time, the world is moving so quickly. You know, we can't just not have governance. So I think that's a really important conversation that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, a lot to think about. Probably a good place to leave it as happy hour's kicking off right now, and
right.
We can probably talk about this over some cocktails. If
Yeah.
you want to leave us with maybe a final thought before we sign off. Yeah.
Final thought. You're not using AI or anything. Use it now. It's not the future.
Use it now because you have a 2-year grace period to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Exactly. I didn't say it.
No, I said that. That's me. I'm an American. I can say whatever I want. What about yourself, man?
I look at the sign behind us.
Yeah, what's it say?
And it says 60 years of ERC.
Oh, it's the 60th.
And we talk so much about the future, but I've been thinking about history a lot lately.
Oh.
And like
King George.
maybe we need to go back in time a little bit to see what we've learned from the past.
Okay.
To help us develop business in the future. I think there are lots of lessons to be learned. Zan and I have talked about, Zan studied history at university, and I think maybe that's something that we should talk about more at these discussions, not just what's going to go ahead, but what we can learn, especially from mentors and people of the past. So I think that's a big takeaway for me.
I love it. That's great perspective.
Definitely.
You know? That's awesome. Let's leave it there.
Good.
This has been exciting.
Thanks very
Zan,
much.
it's good to see you as always. Ben, a pleasure.
See you on the
as
dance
always.
floor.
Great to have you join us here at WERC GWS 60th anniversary. Well said, Ben. Hit that like button, get in the comments. We will see you again in 2 hours as we do the Party with Purpose red carpet. I will have zero voice. I will be mostly using American Sign Language with a British accent. So feel free to tune in there, at least see what we're gonna wear. It's gonna be great. There's gonna be some great outfits. Are you guys coming to the party? Oh, you are. I know you are.
Always.
Yes,
Always.
in a powdered wig.
Yeah.
Like history.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it'll be fantastic. Can't wait to see you there. Take care, everybody.
See you later.